All right, James. Jeth Randolph. I actually got volume one and volume two of this on Amazon. I also got his Blunt Weapon Tactics book. Jeth, of course, is a UK based self defense instructor who wants to write fiction. He has a Substack. I'll link to that. But he wants to write fiction, and he has actually gone to links to publish some of your books. You have tons of books backlog that you've never published yet, that you've done years ago. He's actually publishing some of those books. I'll link to that also. But I wanted I was just curious too to see his work here. And like I said, I got volume one and two. Very impressed. Very interesting. I like it because there's a tradition of UK-based self-defense instructors. Of course, you think of Jeff Thompson and some of the other guys that I remember. But Jeff sort of comes. He's not a bouncer. He's not a doorman. He's kind of like you. He's a working dude, just trying to get by. Interested in martial arts. Strong guy, but a regular person. Okay. Family, everything. I thought it was interesting looking at this, the one in one. Right? The whole thing here is he explains in the intro what that means. Right? And we're always big here on the DIY. This is a DIY project. Essentially, he reprinted stuff from his Substack articles. And he basically breaks down what the one-on-one means. It's a statistic and a decision. What I kind of like to sum it up is that one-on-one, they always talk about crime statistics. Now, we all know the government always lies about crime statistics. Everything's always better than you think. Right? Giuliani did it. They do it now. And it was always funny, like shark attacks. Like, the shark attacks are very rare. Well, if you're the one getting attacked by the shark, I guess that doesn't matter to you, right? So, and I kind of like how he explains that here, the one-on-one, like one-on-one, like you matter more, right? Your life is severely impacted while the crime reduction is being celebrated, right? Which is a lie anyway. It'll be of exactly zero consolation to you, other than maybe that fewer people need suffer what you've been through, right? And of course, force necessary, right? When it's time to act, right? When you make the hour, the second of decision. Point I'm making is that what I like about this book, and especially in the Blunt Weapons Tactics book, is in America it's bad enough. In the UK, these people, to be frank, they're not allowed to have anything, essentially. They're not allowed to have any kind of self-defense weaponry, and even when they use their hands, they often get in trouble with those damn raincoat cops they have over there. So.
He told me that there's numerous people that he knows of that are in prison simply for commenting on crimes that they witnessed.
Yeah.
And so it's a very touchy situation. He has some stories in here from contributors. It's discussed. It's like a workshop. And my favorite story was when he was working in construction on a bridge, and a few guys in an automobile tried to steal his tools, and he had a little adventure there. He had he told me personally some things in our Skype conversations. Once an old lady that had dementia, who would go around the neighborhood and forget which door was hers, was being stoned in the street by a young immigrant. And Jeth had been trying to cut his own hair, and he, I guess, screwed the job up and decided to shave his head, and he cut his head open. And then he saw this lady getting stoned in the street by this immigrant, so he grabbed a hammer and chased the kid.
Nice.
And chased him around the block and ran into a whole bunch of the kid's countrymen.
Ooh. Oh.
Okay, so he had some interesting stories like that. He currently teaches in a quiet West Country town. He said his accent from his part of England is what was used in Treasure Island.
Oh, the part of the West Country.
And
the farmers.
He's taken some flack from some of the affluent locals for even teaching self-defense, because they're of the opinion that they live in a perfect nonviolent society. Yet one day on his way into town, he had to protect his wife from some regular drug addict that rides around on stolen bicycles. So, and even that is greeted with disbelief. Oh, well, how do you know that he was really going to harm your wife? The same type of stuff I would get from my family constantly. Like, are you sure that those 5 young men that were headed north and then saw you and started heading south and came right at you asking you what you had? Are you sure they meant you harm? Perhaps that they wanted to know that you had all the clothing you needed to be protected from the cold, and they were willing to give you the shirt off of their back, and you just mistook it when you reached for your knife. This is the kind of, I would get similar stuff from my family.
Well,
so I'm glad that Jeth has done this, and he had me do a Q&A contribution to his second volume. He mailed a copy of this to me when it was published to a place where I was staying in the Pacific Northwest, and my hosts liked it.
Oh yeah, I like I said, I'm all about. I mean, listen, the only books I really want to review, unless they're before the war, I want to do all DIY stuff. Varg stuff, your stuff, other people. Self-publishing, because it's just, I mean, it's far more interesting.
It's the only place where things are actually being explored from the point of view of inquiry.
Yeah, I like the get up drill. Right? This is the interesting, just similar to the jiu-jitsu stand up, and of course this is from the army. Also in capoeira, that's like one of the positions they have. But yeah, the idea of getting up, your ground fighting is get the hell up. Let's see what other things I like. The idea of the idea of weapons, right? You can't have a weapon in the UK, but pick up, weapons of opportunity, pick up things that you can have. So it's a different story in how the self-defense sort of has to gravitate around that. Okay. Now in America, listen, people think America, it's like we're running around like the Wild West. There's cities in America where the laws are as strict, if not stricter, than in Europe. So everybody knows this. So, and also it doesn't make a difference now because you can see who's the prosecutors. Right? So, and of course throughout it all, he's saying, don't fight, get out of there. Even to the point where you just walk away, and the guy can think he won the day, slagging you off, and throwing things at you. I know it sounds like, it's not worth it. You're a coward. You ain't. The MMA guys think they're gonna be like Bruce Lee or whatever. It's not worth it. There is really no way for you to win, okay, unless you scare them off, okay, and that's really the sweet spot. So, and just I like how it even brings up a chapter here on self-defense and social media. I guess this is social media that we're on, and also I like the fact that he brings up the one thing. Of course, everyone thinks to whack somebody, but the idea of stabbing somebody with a long weapon, okay. You see it in martial arts, East and West. The idea of, doing that is very effective. Just pretty good. Also, here's a chapter on small joint manipulation. Okay, the foul in wrestling of essentially, messing with somebody's fingers. So, and so really, really cool book. A lot of good stuff, man. I mean, you see all the I hate to say it, but like the UK decline porn that you have all over YouTube, like Billy Moore and stuff like that. Man, it is getting bad over there, man.
Jeth is going to be editing and publishing my final book on combat. It's actually titled On Combat.
Ah, okay. All right.
It'll be sometime in 2025.
Good. All right. So like I said, recommended. Jeth, thanks again for helping my mate here, my brother. And you got some good stuff, dude. Hope to meet you someday. Recommended.